Hello everybody and welcome back to the airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer, this is Robert Grieve. We are very happy to have you here on this Saturday morning or whenever it is you are watching. As we introduce this topic today, I want to remind you that if this makes any difference to you, it really makes a difference to us if you click the thumbs up button. Give us a like if you would please. Share it if you will, that's always important. These videos are produced for your purpose and this is not an industry piece. This is really for the driving community at large. Isn't that right, Rob?
Consumer driven.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is that. For those of you who are regulars and you know who you are, we are so grateful to see you and have you join us. Feel free to comment.
Hi, everybody.
Absolutely. Comment with us on the in the comments below, in the chat during the premieres. Those happen every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time Zone. And with that being the case, Rob, happy Saturday to you, my friend.
Happy Saturday to you, and to our friends, happy Saturday to you.
Rob, there has been historically and continues on a war of words happening in the industry, and by the industry I'm talking about the collision industry as is connected to the insurance industry. And the war of words, you would think that sounds, really scary and all that kind of stuff. But really, there's only two words.
Yeah, and it's very bland.
We'll see about that. All right, Rob, the two words that we're talking about?
Industry standard.
Industry standard. Now, when we say those two words, you probably go to a place. You probably think of something, and it's probably not all that scary. In fact, you probably take some level of comfort when you hear those words. We're going to peel the layers of the onion back a little bit and find out who's saying the words, what they intend, and do they have an agenda that might not be in your best interest.
If you are ever in a conversation and you hear the words industry standard, I want you to pay close attention. Those are very, very special words, and you need to know who's using them and what their motivation is.
All right, so we set the stage. Who could be using these two words, industry standard, as it relates to something that might be relevant to our audience?
Okay, well, you're generally going to hear it from an insurance person. Okay, so somebody in claims generally is going to talk about industry standard. And you may hear it as it pertains to your vehicle that needs repairing. You may hear it from one that's talking about your health, and no, that procedure is not industry standard for
fixing what ails you.
What we think you're suffering from.
Yeah.
Even though those people they're not a doctor.
Yeah, if you're hearing it from insurance, that's probably accurate.
Yeah, and from our side of the fence, they don't fix cars. They may have been in the industry for 30 years. Trust me, things are way different today than they were 5 years ago.
That's the truth.
So if you're employing 30-year-old technology into your conversation and using words like industry standard, let your ears perk up a little bit and try to figure out what is the motivation behind saying something like that.
So we want to make sure that we don't use any blanket statements because there's always exceptions to the rules that we are talking about. However, when an insurer or someone in the insurance side of things, particularly in the claims payment side of things, uses the words industry standard, it is typically goes along with a denial of payment for a particular procedure. Is that safe to say? Or even a part, right?
Yeah, could be.
Industry standard is that we use aftermarket or salvage parts. They might say something like that.
Yep. They might say something like that.
That's certainly something we've heard
They
before.
usually do say something like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you should really, really be concerned if before they use the words industry standard, they use words like prevailing rates or reasonable and customary.
Oh, sure, reasonable and customary. I hear that a lot.
And when you're talking anything medical, you're going to hear a lot of reasonable and customary. These are all words to convince you that the rest of the world is doing it a different way.
The way that they go to, right?
So industry standard is really, I view it as a average.
Okay.
So you have body shop over here or doctor over here doing this, but body shop over here does this, and somewhere in the middle is what they want to consider the standard because it's a blend. It's an average of what's happening in the marketplace.
I think that's a reasonable conclusion, right?
Yep.
And yet, I think it's safe to say that you probably think of industry standard significantly differently, or what should be the standard in the industry, than the great majority of people. It's not an average. You stand out alone, and not alone. There are many people who have similar thoughts, but let's dig in a little bit to what you consider should be the standard, and then let's talk about what the industry is doing.
Okay. Well, and again, remember I said, look at who's saying industry standard, and what is their motivation for saying it.
Yeah.
Because it's usually going to be some form of a greasing you up for a denial, or we don't think it needs to be done this way. Again, it doesn't matter if it's fixing a car or fixing your broken arm or, whatever the case may be.
And maybe I'll even just throw this in, or paying to assist after a major hurricane in an area. And by the way, I will link to the article that I'm referencing.
Shameful.
It's an article that is one of the major insurance company,
property casualty,
in property and casualty in America, and they are not playing nice on behalf of the victims of Hurricane Ida, which recently hit in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So
when I was saying, look at who's saying it and what the motivation would be, you're never going to hear industry standard come out of my mouth.
Sure.
And whenever I hear somebody say it, it gives me the chills.
Yeah.
Because I know that they don't have somebody's best interest at heart if they're talking about the industry standard.
There it is.
Our industry standard, if we were to use that word, and our motivation is derived from the manufacturer of the vehicle that you're driving.
Yeah.
And we go to them as the source of knowledge about your car.
Well, it's because they made it.
Who would know better about their car? I am not an engineer. I go to the manufacturer's documents and find out how, and they change them all the time. Different tools come out, different metals are used, different procedures are developed.
You make no assumptions.
We do not.
From vehicle to vehicle, year to year, manufacturer to manufacturer. You can't.
So the standard for us
Yeah.
is what the manufacturer wants, how they want it, what tools they want used, what materials they want used, what processes they want used, in some cases, what area they want it used in, like an aluminum clean room or a downdraft spray booth, or whatever they prescribe as the right way to repair a vehicle.
That's what we do.
That's our standard.
Yeah.
And it's not industry standard to have that standard. There's plenty of articles, and we've done plenty of videos on different subjects where the vast majority of the collision industry is not following what the OEM or the manufacturer wants you to do.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation last night with a shop from back east, and one of the newer technologies that's getting weaved into some of the cars because of the types of metals and access to them is silicon bronze welding.
Never heard of that.
So this person is telling me, there's very, very little heat when you weld with this, but you're not actually welding, you're brazing. And brazing does not weld the two pieces of metal together. It puts Anybody
glues
who knows
it.
anything about soldering,
Yeah.
you're soldering. You're
Yeah.
putting something around it that holds it together.
There you go.
Not melting them together so they become one piece.
Structurally, there's a massive difference there.
And I told him, stop doing that. Stop doing that immediately. No OEM, no manufacturer says to fix the car that way. And he's like, well, yeah, but it keeps the heat down and so on and so forth. But if you get hit in the rear again, that is just going to pop right off. It has no structural integrity.
Yeah, if you're starting a sentence with "yeah, but," there's a problem there.
And I said, go to the manufacturer's procedure. There's not a manufacturer that says that that's an acceptable way to put a quarter panel on. Now, are there areas that they want you to use that? Yes, but they're small areas, and there's reasons why those specific areas need them. Could be that you're on high-strength steel or ultra-high-strength steel, but the quarter panel that he's talking about welding together is mild steel.
Okay.
So there's a huge difference, and there's tools that need to be used, and places they need to be used, and you go to the manufacturer's procedures to find that out. It is not industry standard to go and do it that way. You talk about we wash every vehicle that comes into this place so that we have clean cars that we're working on, not because we don't want to get dirty, but it keeps the environment clean. It keeps your interior clean. It keeps the cars next to you clean.
And this brings up my next question. You already led
and that's not industry standard.
You led with the wash bay, which is not industry standard. But let's talk a little bit about what we do that are procedures or processes that are different than what you can expect from the great majority of body shops. But there are shops out there who do and treat your vehicles, treat you like the guest that you are, and your vehicles like your asset, the way that it should be. So we talked about washing the car prior to doing any kind of examination or something like that. What else do we do that is important?
We then put steering wheel covers and seat covers on your vehicle for our people getting in and out of them and moving them. It's not damaging your interior.
Right.
Again, not industry standard, but does it make sense? I mean, I always try to go back to common sense. Common sense and OEM procedures.
Yeah.
It's a better repair for you, and it's not about it costing more or anybody making more money.
Right.
It's about being more thorough and caring on the guest side of things. They're pre and post scanning of cars. We do that on every car coming through here. 50% of the shops in the United States are not doing that. So now, because we're at the 50 mark, does that make it industry standard or not industry standard? And you can get an adjuster on the phone that says, well, I looked at the damage and I don't think that's necessary. Oh. What the hell do you know?
Right.
It's the same person that says, you know what? I see the doctor ordered an MRI. We're not going to pay for an MRI. We think
an X-ray is good enough.
An X-ray will be fine. But that's not what the doctor ordered.
Right.
And who's the one doing it, and who's the one that's trying to help you?
Yeah.
Where you have somebody on the other side saying, well, Joey Bag of Donuts down the street doesn't do it that way. So because all the Joey Bag of Donuts out there and Bob's Body Shop and Backyard Barbecue aren't doing these things, it becomes the industry standard for the insurance company to say, well, it's not standard.
Well, and then we go back and ask the question, why are they saying that?
What is the motivation?
And the motivation is clearly to save money. A penny earned, or a penny saved is a penny earned. I think it was one of Benjamin Franklin's terminologies there. But really, in the insurance industry, if they can say, we're not going to pay for that, and in the example that you gave, the MRI versus the X-ray cost $20, MRI cost $1,200. You say $1,200.
X-ray will be fine.
Yeah, right. And yet that may not be what's necessary. And
but there's a reason why we came up with MRIs.
Yeah,
because
right.
X-rays may be not quite as good.
Right. So, all right, and the list is long of the things that we do.
Oh.
I mean, one of the things that I want to bring up that might help our viewers here is we not just allow, but we encourage our guests to come in anytime,
Yep.
physically walk into the building, and then be taken out for a tour of their vehicles.
Yep.
Talk to the technicians. Explain the process of why we do what we do. There's nothing hidden here. And again,
And you should always ask
big
us
thing.
if you can do that. I mean,
yeah,
when you go and actually see it, it's all those different senses. You can smell, you can see, you can touch, you get a better sense of what the vehicle is going through as far as a repair goes, and you have a better sense of the quality that's going to be associated with that,
Right.
or lack thereof. And while you're there looking, you're also looking around at all the other cars. What's going on with them? Is the place clean and neat?
Yeah.
Are they using the most high-tech stuff? How does this thing work? And you're showing them, this is how and we're measuring vehicles, and come on, here, let's do it together.
I can't help it. When you said, take a look around at the other cars, I can't help. Off camera where you can't see, I'm looking at a classic Maserati that is ready now for pickup in delivery. But to see this car is to just go back in time and say, oh my gosh, what an amazing piece of equipment this was back in the day.
Back then.
And this is 30 years old or more. And
It's not representative of today.
No.
Of today's vehicles. You fix that car completely different than you fix.
You would have to. Yeah.
Brand new cars today.
Yeah.
And we do our best to teach these people why we need to do these things and provide them with the documents and stuff.
Yeah.
But the guy that I was talking to last night that was doing silicon bronze, he's not reading any OEM instructions or recommendations
Or if he's
anything
reading
like
them,
that,
he's ignoring them.
because this is a better way because he feels like it's a better way and it makes sense in his head.
It's faster.
But it is absolutely the wrong way to do it. And that can become the industry standard when an insurance company sees him and he tells them what a great thing it is, and all of a sudden, oh, you should just do this.
Yeah.
How about we just follow what the manufacturers want to do and make that our standard?
Faster and less expensive is not always best. So it's one of those things to really be aware of, and that's really the purpose of this video here. We wrote an article about this a couple of years back, and
It's very popular.
It is very popular. In fact, the motivation for this video, and we're going to put a link to that article right below, and encourage you to go ahead and dig in. It's a quick read, but it's something that might make better sense for you. And again, we always believe that an informed guest is way better than somebody who is just reacting. Remember, when you get into an accident, you've been traumatized, and coming up with new information and making decisions that may be in the heat of the moment, if you don't have the education, can be challenging. So that's kind of the purpose of us doing that.
So if you hear those words, industry standard or prevailing rates or reasonable and customary, get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Start asking questions.
Yep. And just look for the motivation. And I don't care if you're talking about getting your car fixed or a health problem or a roof.
Sure.
Or, people will tell you anything they can to make it less money. And you're the one that suffers through that whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, we're always available to ask a question or,
Yep.
give you some more insight into what people might be trying to do.
Yeah. I'll put that as well to you. If you've got a question or a comment, and we love all of you who leave comments, whether they're for or against our position, that's fine. That's kind of what makes the world go round, and the conversation gets started.
And I love a discussion.
That is what we're here to do, is to get that conversation started. So again, if you found value in this video, would you share it with somebody? Would you just copy the link and post it to your social media? Let your friends and family make their own decisions about those two words, industry standard, and what the value is to them. And on behalf of Rob and myself and all the team here at Nylund Collision Center, we want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
Appreciate
Thank you
you
for clicking the like button. We appreciate all of that. And most importantly, we want to make sure that you know that you have a place that you can ask any question, and we're happy to answer as much as we're able. All right? Rob?
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you.
Thank you again for tuning in. We appreciate all of you.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.